Welcome everybody to the newest show and the newest episode of
The Veggie Batty Show. Hi, I'm Valeria.
And I'm Constanza.
And today we're going to give you a one-on-one on how toxins, pesticides, and other toxins impact the evolution of species in the environment.
Well, that's very interesting, Valeria.
Yeah, so let's get on to the facts. So before we start our show, we would like to say thank you to our generous benefactor because without him, this wouldn't be possible. So thank you, Mr. Hoover. And also thank you to the wonderful landscape and design team that put together the set of flowers and plants behind us to make this as wonderful as possible. And talking about plants, do you know why each plant has a different characteristic?
Well, there's one simple answer. It's called natural selection. Charles Darwin was an English naturalist that was generally interested in discovering about this. He is best known for his contribution on the evolutionary theory. In his book he published in 1859, called On the Origin of Species, he talked about the theory called Darwinism and how species have evolved based on the simple ancestor naturally over time. He also managed to develop 5 main theories in his book, which have been both acclaimed and criticized until today.
Well, I actually remember some of them from school. I think the first one was the concept of evolution, because he believed that species exist and change while they go through history. Then secondly came the idea of common descent, that several or few ancestors were responsible for the creation of species. And in terms of species multiplication, he believed that species could start as one, but through time they could split from the original organism, but the process needed to be gradually, not instantly.
And finally comes natural selection.
Exactly.
A theory which he believed that some factors give certain species a higher probability of surviving, and those are the ones that tend to live and develop through time. He believed that human ancestors were monkeys and horses' ancestors were Euphipius, but as the years passed and we've developed new technologies, this has changed.
And today in this show, we will talk about different toxins that have impacted the way species evolve today. So stay tuned. Well, thanks for everyone that tweeted out during today's show, and right now we're going to choose the favorite tweet to start our show. So the question is from EnviroLover, and that said, how the pesticides and herbicides affect the evolution of species. So let's roll.
Well, first of all, what is a pesticide? A pesticide is a substance used for destroying insects or other organisms harmful to the cultivated plants or to the animals. Okay. So, well, then how do pesticides affect evolution? When a pesticide is first used, a small proportion of the past population may survive exposure to the material due to the distinct genetic makeup. These individuals pass along the genes for resistance to the next generation. Subsequent uses of pesticide increase the proportion of less susceptible individuals in the population. Throughout the process of selection, the population gradually develops resistance to the pesticides. Worldwide, more than 500 species of insects, mites, and spiders have developed some level of pesticide resistance.
So, going on to the next part of the question. So, the herbicide part. So, what is a herbicide? Herbicides are weed killers and another type of pesticide actually. They're a major contribution to global agriculture because they help remove the weeds or the unwanted plants. So, herbicides affect the evolution, in this case of plants, in a similar way that the pesticides affect the bugs or the insects, because herbicide applications eliminate susceptible weeds before they reproduce, and they create a selective advantage for any rare, resistant individuals in the weed population. Reproduction by these weeds that escape then transmits the resistant trait to their offspring, and that facilitates their survival when exposed to the same type of herbicide. Sustained use of the same herbicide, or in some cases the same kind of toxic chemical consistently, favors the survival and the reproduction of this resistant new type of offsprings, leading to a weed population that eventually resistant plants dominate if the herbicide is used throughout the same process constantly.